caprofile.net. You want me to say it again? CA Profile.net. And he has something called, he worked in a hospital where he was seeing how they would find out when people had cancer by doing all these really extreme measures. So he wanted to get a really simple way to determine if somebody was really sick and had cancer or was developing cancer. So what he established was the cancer blood profile test, which can tell, you know, you put a whole bunch of series of certain tests together, which can tell by looking at somebody's blood work, 10 years prior to them getting cancer, if they're going to get cancer, if they keep what they're doing, based on their blood test and their blood results. Amazing. So then he created something called the longevity blood profile, which had even more stuff, which showed this. Now anyone can look at his website and see the different tests on there and go to their doctor and get the same blood test done, or you can contact him and have it done overseas and so on. But the bottom line is, this is telling us what's working and what's not working. A woman comes in the office, 42 years old, looking good, healthy, in good shape, very fit, but her blood work says she's going to get cancer if she doesn't change what she's doing. People might say, well, how do you know those tests are reliable? Well, we do know that everyone with this stage 4 cancer, their blood test might, you know, their tumor markers might be up here. It's not what they're doing, it's is what they're doing working for them that counts. You know, and so we need to make sure we're monitoring from our sleep, our digestion, and our blood work to make sure what we're doing is working for us. So we need to make sure of these things, and people just aren't doing that, just going, I feel. You know, so we got to be careful with this. Now, I want to continue. I got to tell you my story, how I learned about the blood test, and how I learned about this, and why, after being on a raw vegan diet for 15 years, I'm no longer on a raw vegan diet. So don't call the raw food police on me just yet. You know, I know how some people think. But the first thing we're going to do right now is, how many people here like to play games? With enthusiasm. Okay, it's a good thing. Games, good games. All right. Okay, I need everyone to say they do, because if you don't, we got other issues than diet. Games are fun. Games are good. How many of you like to play games?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, we're going to play a game. And then we're going to take a break in a little while. Do people want to take a break yet, or you're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to first play a game, and then we'll take a break. The first game we're going to play is called Simple Paul Said. Does everyone know how to play Simple Simon Said?
Yeah.
Okay. I know you're bright enough here in Brisbane to figure out the rules of Simple Paul Said. It's the same thing as Simple Simon Said, but my name is not Simon, so we can't call it that. We're going to call it Simple Paul Said. So Simple Paul Says, everyone stand. Very well. Simple Paul says that I want you to prove to me, since I'm so happy to be here in Brisbane and I find it to be my favorite city in Australia, I want you to prove to me that the brightest, wittiest people live right here in Brisbane. So you're all going to do great at this. Now, who thinks they're going to win this game? Okay, this guy thinks he's going to win. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt thinks he's going to win. Okay. I think you're all going to win. Well, let's see. Okay, very simple. First one. Simple Paul said, everybody buy my book. You still think you're going to win, Matt? Okay, great. Okay, that's just kidding. Okay, the first thing is, Simple Paul says, we don't use our muscles enough. We don't use our muscles enough when we have to. Specifically the muscles in our face, we just don't use them enough. Specifically the muscles in our lips, we don't use them enough. So Simple Paul said, right now, everyone smile. See, I scared some of you, right? Simple Paul says we need to smile more often. I smile all the time. People think I'm either very happy or crazy. I guess I'm a little of both, because they say you are what you eat, and I eat nuts. But we need to smile more often. So that's number one. Okay, Simple Paul says another thing we need to do, we need to stretch more often. So Simple Paul says, right now, everyone, reach as high as you can for the sky and stretch as high as you can. This is the position I'm usually seeing people in New York. Okay, Simple Paul says you can put your hands down. Simple Paul says you have to get my jokes, I'm not really loud. Okay, thank you. Simple Paul says another thing we don't do enough is we don't breathe enough. So Simple Paul says patience, everyone. Okay, we gotta wait until I say that's gonna breathe. Okay. Simple Paul says for the first time in a very long time, we need to breathe, take a really deep breath. So, when I say so, Simple Paul says, everyone, take a really, really deep breath right now. And if you're going to get my book, let it out. No, I'm just kidding. Simple Paul said, let the breath out, please. If somebody next to you is turning blue, hit them, make sure they let it out. Okay, Simple Paul said, you need to breathe more often. We just don't do that. We don't take deep breaths enough. Let's try it one more time. Deep breath, okay. Let it out. All right, good. Doesn't that feel good? Okay. Simple Paul says, if you're still awake, okay, no. Simple Paul says, another thing we don't do enough is we have to get our blood flowing enough. We have to exercise more to get our lymph moving and everything else. We just don't do this enough. Now, my favorite exercise is jumping up and down on a rebounder, but don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to do that. Simple Paul says we still need a way to get our blood flowing more. And what we need to do is I need everyone here to prove to me that people from Brisbane are the smartest people and you're going to get this right because somebody always gets this one wrong. But you're all going to get this right. Simple Paul says, I need you to actually acknowledge that you understand what I'm saying because I want to make sure you're going to get it right since somebody always gets it wrong. Simple Paul says, when I count to 3, I want everyone to clap as loud and as fast as you can 7 times. Does everyone acknowledge that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You ready? 1, 2, 2.5, 3. Great. I just wanted to make sure I got a standing ovation. Okay. Simple Paul says you may take your seats. When I say that in New York, I end up in an empty room because people take their seats. It's like we're here. I go down the block and somebody's selling the chairs from the lecture. Okay, come over here. Okay, we have to understand, again, I'll repeat it several times, the raw food diet is not a panacea. There are things that are good and things that are bad, and the best things that are good are the things that we need. Yes, the fruits and the vegetables will have the ideal things in them, if we need those, but a detoxification and a deficiency have the same symptoms. How do we know one from the other? See, the problem with the raw food world is everyone, all of a sudden when they get sick, they go, oh, it's a detox. Oh, it's a detox. Well, maybe it is. But if you treat a detox like you would a deficiency, or a deficiency the same way you do a detox, you're in trouble. Because if somebody's having a detox, the answer is to rest. Slow down, you're doing too much. The answer to a deficiency is you're not getting enough. So if you just go along saying, oh, it's a detox, and then you go on a fast, let's say, but if you already have a deficiency, that can make the problem worse. Does everyone understand that? So we need to monitor these things, I'm telling you, especially the blood work, to find out and figure it out for sure. I'm going to take comments and questions at the end, so please write them down and we'll answer those. But so these are the things we need to make sure, for sure. Now, I want to give you now 3 stages to the daylight diet. And then after I give you 3 stages to the daylight diet, we're going to take a little break. And after the break, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and I'm going to tell everyone why after 15 years I'm no longer on a 100% raw vegan diet. And I'm also going to tell you the most important things, or some of the most important things is it all comes down to stress and relieving stress. But first, I need a volunteer. Okay, this guy is a volunteer. What's your name?
Cosmic Dive.
Okay, I didn't ask you to get up yet. So he has a lot of enthusiasm, a little too much. Okay, first, tell me slowly. What's your name?
Cosmic Dive.
Okay, Dave here is going to be our volunteer. Dave, I want you to remind me after the break to tell people the best ways to relieve stress and also about why I'm no longer a raw vegan after 15 years. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
I give you permission to write that down if you think you might struggle with remembering that. Okay, that's okay, he says. Okay, we'll see. Okay, now, the best ways to the 3 stages to the daylight diet. There's 3 stages to the daylight diet. Stage number 1 is get out of the habit of eating when it's dark outside. In other words, who didn't eat yet tonight? Who's going to go home and eat? Now tonight could be the last night. Tonight should be the last night because now you know. But get out of the habit of eating when it's dark outside. I'm giving you permission and telling you eat as much as you need to eat when it's light outside. So when it's dark outside, you're so full, you say, I can't even eat another bite. Now, I know because of habit, we say, oh, we're hungry. What if we're hungry? There's a difference between true hunger and habit hunger. In other words, if you've eaten enough and you're full, but you're used to eating at 9 o'clock at night, come 9 o'clock at night, you're going to be in the mood for food. But that doesn't mean you're hungry and you need it. That means it's a habit. It's a habit.